Hi everyone! Welcome to Preschool Parade, Fun with Fall. I'm Miss Sylvia. I am a children's instructor with the Howard County Library System Miller Branch.
Hi, and I'm Miss Heidi. I'm also at the Miller branch of the Howard County Library System. Welcome!
We are so excited to celebrate fall with you. So, Miss Heidi's going to get us started with a song.
So, what is one of the things that happen in the fall, boys and girls? Leaves start falling down, right? So for this song, you can use your fingers, or you can get a scarf and pretend leaves are falling down with the scarf. Or you can actually have some leaves like Miss Sylvia does. Or if you don't have leaves right now, you can use them later. And we're just going to sing Pretty Leaves Are Falling Down. And then Miss Sylvia will take a turn. Are you ready? Here's my leaves. Here we go. Pretty leaves are falling down, falling down, falling down. Pretty leaves are falling down all around us.
All right.
Now, Miss Sylvia,
I'm going to sing it next.
And
yes. All right. Nice. Here we go. Pretty leaves are falling down, falling down, falling down. Pretty leaves are falling down all around us.
All around us. Beautiful leaves are falling down. So boys and girls, that's one of the things that happen in the fall. We're going to look at some other things that happen in the fall when we talk about fall colors. I think Miss Sylvia has a book.
I do. And so some of the ideas of things and colors that we look at are coming from this book called Fall Colors by Brian Enslow.
So here we go. Here's the first thing we might see in the fall. What is that?
Red apples.
A red apple. Yummy. Here we go. What else might we see? Ooh, a yellow leaf.
Yellow leaves.
Miss Sylvia has one. Yellow leaves.
Yes, yellow leaves.
Beautiful. And we'll see some other color leaves too.
Yeah.
We might also see later in the fall.
Ooh, orange
pumpkin. Some of them might look like this. Look at that big pumpkin.
That is a big pumpkin.
And we talked about all those leaves. Look at how many different colors leaves can be.
Oh, wow.
Look at that, all falling from the sky. Can you help me name them with Miss Sylvia?
Brown, red. Is that one brown too?
It looks like a reddish one too.
Oh, a reddish. Yellow, orange, green.
Green, and both of these are green.
Yeah.
And then another
orange.
And another.
Is that like a yellow?
Yellow.
Yeah, yellow.
And here's another kind of reddish brown. Boys and girls, so many different colors of leaves that you will see in the fall.
Awesome.
Beautiful colors.
Yay.
Another thing that we get ready for in the fall, not just the leaves falling down, but the weather starts getting a little bit colder. So we got some ideas of what we might need to wear in the fall from this book. And it's called Fall, Seasons of the Year by Heather Brunville. And inside this book, it talks about some things we might need to put on when things start getting colder. Now, this won't happen for a while, but we might need a scarf when it starts to get cold outside. So be ready. What else, Miss Sylvia?
Sometimes you may need to start wearing maybe longer sleeves or a sweatshirt in the fall when it starts to get a little chillier.
That's right. Like Miss Heidi had to put this jacket on because it's a little cloudy today. It starts getting a little colder. And along with the scarf, every once in a while, you might need a hat to go on. And I saw Miss Sylvia had a Ravens, and I have a Ravens too, because
Yeah.
football starts in the fall too, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Football is a fall sport. What else, Miss Sylvia, might we have to wear?
So you may also have to wear some boots. So I have some rain boots here if it's raining, but even when it gets a little chilly, there's all different types of boots that you may start to put on as well.
This is so true, boys and girls. So when fall weather starts coming, be ready with some of these warm weather gear. But it is still a few more days of summer, and I'm happy about that.
Yes.
Another thing you might see a lot in the fall is acorns.
Yay!
And those squirrels try to find those acorns everywhere. And this is a very silly book, Acorns Everywhere by Kevin Sherry. And the squirrel tries to hide his acorns all over the place, and then he might forget where he put them. So acorns is definitely a thing you need to look for. And Miss Heidi has some acorns that I found. And we just want to take a moment and maybe count them with me. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 and 10. Looks like Miss Heidi lost one of her acorns. I bet that squirrel took it, Miss Sylvia.
Probably did.
I bet that's what happened.
Oh
But
my goodness.
there are a lot of acorns that you can find outside. And that's one of the things you can do in the fall, right, Miss Sylvia?
That's
you can go on a nature walk.
A nature walk's so much fun, and when you go on your nature walk, there are so many things you could look for. So maybe acorns, like Miss Heidi showed us. What else could we look for? I have some of these, some pine cones here.
Ooh.
You may find on a nature walk in the fall.
You can find nature walk pine cones, and don't forget those acorns. And of course, when the leaves start changing color, you can find very colorful leaves outside.
That's right. And then after you find things, you can count them and see how many you have. That's always a fun idea, right?
Beautiful. Do you have 10 of something, Miss Sylvia?
I do have 10 of something. I have 10 pine cones here on my crate. So we're going to count them. We'll count them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
10
10 pine
cones.
cones. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Miss Sylvia. Well, both of us also have a craft that you can do, and it does involve some of those leaves.
Yes.
Now, I know Miss Sylvia has what it might look like when it's finished.
I do.
And then Miss Heidi might show you what it will look like while you're doing it.
I do.
What is your finished project, Miss Sylvia?
These are leaf rubbings.
Beautiful.
I used crayon for mine, different fall colors to color for mine. Miss Heidi's going to show us how to make it. I'm excited.
Well, I hope it works, boys and girls. So I found some leaves outside, and then I taped them upside down on a piece of paper so that you can really see what makes up a leaf upside down. And then I'm going to use another piece of paper over that. Let me get my other paper. Blank, and I'm going to color over the leaves and see if we can see them. You see me doing that? Is it starting to come through yet, Miss Sylvia?
It looks like it.
It's coming through a little bit. I have to color very hard. I see part of the...
Oh, I see it. Yes.
like a dinosaur head too. But boys and girls, no matter what kind of leaf you get, I see it right there. You can
That
make
is
all
neat.
kinds of neat designs, and you can use colored pencils like Miss Heidi did, or crayons like Miss Sylvia did, or you can even try just a regular pencil and have fun tracing over the leaves.
Awesome.
Right, Miss Sylvia?
Getting close to the end. So we have a song that we're going to sing, two different versions of. Miss Heidi has hers, and then I'll sing my version. So go ahead, Miss Heidi, and sing 10 Little Acorns.
10 little acorns. And boys and girls, I did find my other little acorn from the squirrel. So we'll just have to pretend that it's right there and still count it. Are we ready? Here we go.
Ready?
1 little, 2 little, 3 little acorns, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little acorns, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little acorns, 10 acorns all around. There you go, boys and girls. We counted 10 acorns again.
Wow, I'm going to sing about our pine cones too. All right, 10 little pine cones this time. Here we go. I'm going to just kind of point above. So 1 little, 2 little, 3 little pine cones, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little pine cones, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little pine cones, 10 pine cones all around.
10 boys and girls, you did it. You counted 10 acorns and 10 pine cones. And I bet if you go on your nature walk, you can count 10 leaves.
Yeah.
10 of whatever you find out in nature, because it is fall soon, boys and girls.
Yay! So exciting.
And get ready.
Yes.
We hope you had fun with us today on Preschool Parade's Fun with Fall. And we hope to see you next time very soon. Thanks.
Bye.